Imagine starting 2025 with a proven roadmap to become a secure parent and raising secure children, to becoming the parent that you want to be for your children. That's the roadmap that we are going to talk about today in this podcast episode of the Parenting with Understanding podcast. Hello, my name is Marcela Collier. I am your host, certified parenting coach, and founder of HIC Parenting Education Agency. My team of coaches and I have served 14,151 parents, break free from reactivity, and raise secure children using the process, the four-step process that you are going to learn step by step on this podcast episode. Once you're done listening to this podcast episode, you are going to start feeling the changes because the parents who apply this four-step process, they start seeing fewer meltdowns, calmer night routine, calmer morning routine, more connection, better cooperation, and better communication between them and their children. If you've been listening to the Parenting with Understanding podcast for a while, and if it has given you the information and inspiration that you need to raise secure children, could you please share with us a positive review? Just open the description of this podcast episode and write a hopefully 5-star positive review. That let us know and helps us get to more parents. I need to clear my throat. Okay, so let's talk about this self process. SELF process. This process is what we use in coaching to help parents. That's the roadmap that we give parents who go through parenting coaching in HIC parenting. So the S element is becoming secure parents. Becoming secure parents. So, who is a secure parent? Is a secure parent a parent who never gets angry? Is a secure parent a parent who's always calm? Well, that might be the idea that gentle parenting social media has sold a lot of us that in order for us to be secure parents, we need to be calm all the time and talk gently. And that's not the case. Parents who are secure are very, very, very good at knowing how to be angry, how to be frustrated, and remain safe. It's not that they dismiss their anger and their frustration, they know how to work through it with their children and with themselves and still remain safe. So, at the practical level, our clients who are applying this step, when they start becoming and tapping into their safety, their inner safety, their children tend to gravitate towards them a lot easier. That happened to Marcus. He's one of our current coaching clients. He just started the process like 2 weeks ago. And then when he came to HIC parenting, his main parenting struggle was bedtime. Bedtime was a 2 hour process with a lot of tears and power struggles. And it usually the night ended in him yelling at his daughter. After he learned how to remain safe and secure, even when he is frustrated, he was able to keep it together. Yes, he was able to remain secure and safe during those tough moments. And a beautiful thing happened. His daughter started relying on him as her her safe space. And her bedtime meltdowns started going away and things started falling in place for the both of them because she felt safe with him. That's why she was not in her fight or flight response anymore. She was able to calm her mind down and go to sleep. I want you to hear directly from Marcus. I'm going to play his story, his testimonial right now. With total commitment, and then she
and she said, "You're sweet, Daddy," and then she went to sleep.
And how do you feel?
I felt, I don't know the English word, but like everything came together.
What's the Dutch word?
Uh, phew. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's probably not just one word for us. It's when everything aligns, you know. And yeah, sometimes when just I think it's when everything feels right. It just felt right. It felt.
So that is him. When he started feeling safe inside, he started transferring that to his daughter at bedtime, and things started falling in place for him. Because underneath reactivity, there is fear, there is anxiety, there is nervousness. Underneath the yelling and the spanking and all the things that goes against our values, there is a deep sense of insecurity. So the way to break free from this cycle, number one step, is to gain inner safety. Once we gain inner safety, we can transfer that to our kids, and they will replicate it. I hope I'm pronouncing that word correctly. Second language learner here. So being a secure parent is not necessarily talking calmly to our kids. It's not necessarily trying to not get angry. It is none of that. It's truly feeling safe, even if we're feeling big feelings like frustration or anger. And just as step alone gave Marcus in his first week of coaching transformation. Now, if you're like Marcela, I really want to know how to gain inner safety. I want to dive into the self process at a more nuanced level. Well, I'm going to explain the self process in this episode, but as well, I have a more in depth coaching in the self process. It's actually a free class that you can go and access right now on my website at hicparenting.com, hicparenting.com. All you need to do is give us your best email and your name, of course, and we will send you this free class where I explain in depth how to gain inner safety so we can be that safe space for our children and the rest of the steps of the self process. So go to hicparenting.com, is there. If you are watching on YouTube, it's in the description box below, or I'm going to place a card up here above the video. If you are listening from your podcast feed, then open the description of the podcast and the link is there as well. Or you can go directly to our website. Okay, the E element of the self process is becoming educated, being equipped in our children's needs. Every single behavior communicates a need. And in Marcus's daughter's case, the need was safety. She was expecting the yelling at some point, even if her daddy was trying to be calm. She knew it was going to end up in yelling at some point. So her need for safety took her to stall bedtime, to power struggle, to try to get out of bed, to try to not get to that point of yelling with all those little behaviors. Your children's hitting, their tantrums, their meltdowns, their defiance, sibling fights, back talk, lying, all the behavior that is keeping you up at night. If you are watching us from YouTube, let me know in the comments what is the behavior that is keeping you up at night. Well, I have news for you. That behavior is communicating a very specific need. Once you get very good and equipped on understanding the needs beneath those behaviors, then you are way more prone, more likely to get positive behavior out of your children because you see the quote unquote misbehavior, you meet the need, and the behavior doesn't have a place to stay because the need is met. And needs or wants are two different things. Meeting our children's needs is way different than catering to our children's wants. I'm not talking about wants. I want that candy. That's a want. I'm talking about a need. Do I need safety? I need autonomy. I need connection. I need to feel skillful. I need power. I need I need to have fun. I need to feel in control. All those needs. I need to feel significant. I need acceptance. All those needs are manifested through behaviors. And the younger our children are, the more they manifest their needs through their behaviors. The more they do it, because their communication skills are not that great, and their emotional insight of understanding what's going on in their emotional landscape is not that developed yet. So, yes, the hitting, the kicking, the throwing, the biting, all those things are needs. For our clients, our coaching clients, we guide them on unveiling their particular children's needs. Sometimes we're talking about sensory needs. Some other times we're talking about autonomy needs. Some other times are physical needs or safety needs. And once we support the parents to gaining a full understanding of what their children's needs are, we develop a game plan to meet those needs. So those behaviors that keep them up at night don't have a place to stay, or to stay as often, as frequent, as intense. So that's the E element, being equipped on your child's needs. Beneath repetitive misbehavior from your kids, I don't like the misbehavior word, I don't use it with my clients, but just for the sake of understanding each other here on the podcast, beneath children's unwanted behavior, that's a better way of phrasing it, there is always a need. When you understand that need and you know how to meet it, then you are very, very likely to see a reduction on the frequency of those behaviors. Let me give you an example of how I meet my children's needs. My autistic son, I have an autistic son, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know. So he has a lot of sensory needs. Sensory needs meaning that sensory experiences, things that come through his senses, sometimes they may feel to him overbearing, like it's too much. So in the evening, I see his sensory needs raising up, and he becomes really cranky and almost untouchable, and it's because he has these sensory needs. So how do I meet those sensory needs? Instead of telling Santi go to bed, don't get up from bed, like instead of getting into a power struggle with him, I anticipate and I meet those needs, so his nervous system calms down and he's more willing to go to bed. How am I meeting this? How am I meeting this? So I lower the lights. I make sure that he doesn't have a screen time after bath. So he has alone time, like a pretty decent time, cushion of time without screens. And the last thing is that he's a sensory seeker, meaning he seeks sensory input, sensory action. So I do things such as big squeezes. He has a weighted blanket, and he has other things. Massages really help him, and it chills him out. That's way more effective than me trying to fight him to stay in bed. Just meeting his sensory needs allows me to have a peaceful night with my son. So the four steps, the four-step roadmap to become the parent you want to be is S, becoming a secure parent. So your children feel your inner safety, and from there, they calm down. Number two, becoming equipped on understanding your child's needs. Because when you understand your child's needs, you are a lot more efficient addressing those behaviors and gaining cooperation. The L element, this is a biggie for our coaching clients. And usually we stay here for weeks because it takes a little time to rewire their entire subconscious mind about this. So the L element is having loving responses, to set boundaries, to discipline, to basically correct their children. Loving responses. Yes, we can correct our children and discipline our children in a loving way, an effective way. The thing is that a lot of us didn't grow up with that model. A lot of us didn't grow up with it. So what happens? Because we didn't grow up with that model of what it is to be corrected in love and safety, then when it's time for us to correct our children, we feel a lot lost and we're like, okay, if it is not spanking, no, what do I do? So we do things that doesn't work, like, such as repeating ourselves over and over again. That's not setting a boundary. Or such as announcing a consequence, that's not setting a boundary. So having loving discipline, loving boundaries, loving limits, it's understanding what works to correct my children and to teach them positive behavior in a loving way. And for that, it's important to understand their needs as well. That's why this is a step 3, not step 2. We need step 1, step 2 to be able to do step 3 correctly. In step 1, we remain safe. On step 2, we understand the needs beneath the behaviors. On step 3, now that we understand the needs, then we respond. I already gave you the example of my son that I ended most bedtime meltdowns just by meeting his sensory needs. But on this step, it's not just me meeting the needs, it's teaching him to communicate and meet his own sensory needs. So that way, I'm fully developing in him the skills he needs to behave good, to have positive behavior and great interactions with others. So let me give you another example on how I said, because we did not grow up with that model of what it is to correct our children in a loving way. This is the place, the time of the coaching process with our clients that we spend the most time in, just because we need to deconstruct the whole value system and the whole discipline system that is in our family, and rebuild a new one and get the family used to it. And that's done in coaching. So with this L element, I have a rule of thumb for you. Every time you see a behavior that is an unwanted behavior, a behavior you don't want to see, then think, what is the skill my child needs to know to be successful with this interaction? And once you think about the skill, okay, how can I teach him that skill? That's a very microwave answer, very simple yet effective, a little microwave as well, because for the sake of time here on the Parenting with Understanding podcast, but it is powerful. Start thinking about that way. What is the skill that I need to develop here? If my son is pushing baby sister down when he doesn't want her to play with his toys, what is the skill he needs to develop to do it, to set boundaries differently? So the skill might be the skill of communication, of his boundary to sister. Okay, so he needs that skill. How can I develop that? When you are in the interaction with them, show him what it is to set the boundary and to protect his play and his toys from baby sister without pushing her down. So that's how I said, a very fast microwave answer for you. We do that in depth with our clients. We see what they're doing at the moment, what's the value system that is holding that discipline system in that particular family, what the children's needs are, and from there we rebuild a new discipline structure so they're able to correct their children in a loving way. So that's the L element. Let's move to the last element, which is fun parenting. Fun parenting. So, the roadmap to become a secure parent in 2025 includes becoming a fun parent. And let's stop there because I'm not going to place another expectation on your plate that you need to do fun outings with your kids or taking them to the park every single day. I don't do that. I don't even do that. I have autism and ADHD, a lot of sensory needs. I barely go to the park with them. Daddy takes them more than me. So it's not about that. It's not about becoming Bleepy or Miss Rachel, not about that Bluey. It's not about keeping them entertained, none of that stuff. Becoming a fun parent is seeing what's sticky in your daily routine and how we can make it more enjoyable and fun. So if morning routine is rushed, is frustrating, is your energy is anxious from the beginning to end, rushing them, telling them to do things, with in coaching with our clients, we sit down with them and then we develop a better way of going through that very moment of the daily routine that's sticky and how we can make it more fun and enjoyable, considering the other steps, considering the children's needs, considering the way the family is structured in terms of their value system, their rules and their discipline, and considering how safe the parent feels. So that's the self process. That's the 4 step roadmap that has transformed the lives of 14,151 parents, coaching clients in HIC parenting. What if you commit to apply faithfully the self process? Let's go through it real quick. S, for you to become a safe space, a secure parent. E, for you to be equipped in understanding your children's needs beneath their behaviors. Leo balloons went up on the video. That happens when you are recording with Apple. E, I'm going to put my hand down because the balloons keep going up. E, that's the E. L, having loving responses for discipline, for correction, to correct behavior in a loving way. And F, becoming a fun parent. Once you commit to apply these 4 steps faithfully in your family, I guarantee you that you're going to start seeing more connection, more cooperation, less power struggles, less yelling. You're going to end the night feeling great and proud of your parenting. Your children are going to go to sleep feeling awesome about being with you all day and about your parenting. They're going to go to sleep feeling connected, seen, and valued. The sticky moments of your daily routine are going to smooth out, and the hard, big emotion moments are not going to feel scary anymore for you and for your children. That's my hope for you. And I know it will become a reality as you apply the self process. You can apply on your own. It might take more time to master it, or you can do it with our help. So you can get there as Marcus in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, max in a month, so you can feel great in your parenting. The first step is the free class. Attend the free class. It's in hicparenting.com. From that free class, if you want to continue with us, we will tell you next steps. But that's the very first step to take. Go from this podcast episode, go through that free class, get more in-depth training on how to apply the self process in your family. And if you want to continue with help on the application on the daily basis with us in HIC Parenting, we will tell you how you can take advantage of a free call with us as well. But that's once you are in the free class. And I'm very curious. Out of the 4 steps, secure, educated, equipped in your child's needs, loving responses to set limits and boundaries, and being a fun parent, Which one do you think would make the most transformation if you start applying it right now? Let me know in the comments. This is the roadmap to become the parent you want to be this coming year, 2025. I have an invitation for you, and this is a little challenge. My challenge is to share this roadmap with one parent friend. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your coworker. Share this 4-step roadmap with one parent and let them know, hey, this is what I'm going to do in 2025 to reach my parenting goals. Are we going to do this together? Let's do it. And share this podcast episode with them so they can go through it. They can learn the self process, and together you can help one another and raise secure children. I'll see you next time.